their own zone. A steal, Kane, step it up, he scores! Patrick Kane off a Carolina turnover to bring it. Dropped it, Kane shot it, scores! There it is, Patrick Kane just goes under the crossbar. Kane delays, he'll drag it, his shot, he scores! That's hockey, baby! That's 400 for Patrick Kane!
Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we're going to be talking about some pretty huge Buffalo Sabres trade rumors and their apparent master plan to acquire guys like Patrick Kane and other big free agents in these next few seasons. Now, a super interesting article by The Athletic's John Vogel documented what the GM of the Buffalo Sabres, Kevin Adams, is thinking and planning over these next few seasons with the core they currently have, with the rebuild they're going through, and potentially what big moves they can make in the next few seasons. But when it comes to the Buffalo Sabres, what is their master plan right now? What is Kevin Adams truly thinking? And can the Buffalo Sabres actually get some big free agents over these next few years? Watch till the end for all the trade rumors and all the news, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. 60% of the people watching are not subscribed. If you like hockey and if you like trade rumor content, this channel is the place to be. Now, it is widely documented how much of a dumpster fire the Buffalo Sabres are at this current time, but this article by John Vogel basically points to a direction in Buffalo where they're obviously not going to get Patrick Kane or Leon Draisaitl right now, but in the next few seasons, over the next few years, they might be able to get some big free agents because of the direction they're heading in and the future core they're trying to build. And to be able to court those guys in, you'll obviously have to have an enticing team, an enticing culture, and that's what Kevin Adams is exactly building, or at least attempting to build, with the Buffalo Sabres. Now, John Vogel starts off this article by saying this: the Sabres are looking to the future, so it's time for us to do it too. General Manager Kevin Adams has made his ultimate goal very clear. Once the Sabres' young core matures, Adams will surround it with established talent. There's a lot of talent scheduled to be on the market. The next 4 summers could feature Hall of Famers, franchise players, and all-stars finding new homes. While Buffalo is not on their radar now, it may be once their contracts are up. Adams is determined to have the cap space to sign them. Now, one of the main things I think that is super interesting about this article is that GM Kevin Adams doesn't sugarcoat the situation that the Buffalo Sabres are in, and I think that is super important because I think some realism in the Buffalo Sabres front office is badly needed. With the terrible situation they're in, they need to realize how bad of a situation they're in and actually improve for the future, and it seems like Kevin Adams so far has done that. He's made some pretty solid trades so far this offseason, and maybe Jack Eichel is a part of that, we will see. But a super interesting quote from Kevin Adams came with this: it's about putting ourselves in a position that we help grow these young players and make sure we're ready when the time is right to move forward. When we are ready and we are at a point to take that step, we're going to have the financial flexibility and the ability to do it. So one of the main things in that quote is that, again, Buffalo's not going to be really spending too much over these next couple of seasons, but once some of those big free agents are on the market, Buffalo is going to make sure they have the cap space to get those guys, and again, have the culture and the young team around them to actually make it somewhat of an enticing offer. It doesn't seem at this point like Buffalo will ever be a premier destination, but again, Kevin Adams is making sure that they're at least an option and a consideration for some of these star players. Whether that's truthful or not, we will see, but at least that's what they're aiming for right now. Now, another super interesting quote comes from Kevin Adams where he said this: we all want to be right away, but we have to be patient. We have to be disciplined, and we have to get it right. And compared to other GMs in the past, I think this is a super real point of view that actually, gives us a real situation on Buffalo, the terrible situation they're in, and actually points to that, makes an example of that, and says, okay, we have to be better, and we have to be patient with this process, which is exactly the opposite of what other GMs have done in the past. But for me with Buffalo, it's super interesting because John Vogel lists the 2022 free agents, but really he points to 2023 as the big free agent class that Buffalo is really starting to look forward to and really starting to pinpoint to where that culture might be a lot better, that team might be a lot more enticing, and again, some free agents could actually come. And one of the big 2023 free agents that he points to the most is Patrick Kane. And John Vogel ended up saying this that I thought was super interesting: the idea of Kane finishing his career in Buffalo and bringing the cup to his hometown has been discussed for years. When he's scheduled to hit free agency, Cousins will be a 22-year-old entering his 4th season. Dahlin will be a 23-year-old entering his 6th season. If they develop as expected, along with a few others, Buffalo could have an intriguing core to join. And that, to me, is super interesting because when we're talking about Patrick Kane to Buffalo, on the surface, obviously it makes no sense and it could never happen right now. But again, if that team progresses, there might be a chance, especially if they do overpay, that Patrick Kane Kane might look at that. But at the same time, again, when we're talking about Buffalo, even though that culture might be better, getting a guy like Patrick Kane or giving some of these free agents will probably be the most difficult part of Kevin Adams' job. Now, the one name that continues to get brought up in this article is Patrick Kane, of course, from the Chicago Blackhawks. And on paper, Patrick Kane, of course, being from Buffalo, being a hometown kid, it would be a super interesting story if it actually did end up happening. But when we're talking about Patrick Kane going away from the Chicago Blackhawks, Buffalo needs to really be at least a playoff team, needs to have that culture completely revamped, and also need to overpay for Patrick Kane. If all three of those things happen, I think it could be a possibility. But again, this is a player that in terms of offense is still one of the best in this league. In 56 games last year, got 15 goals, 51 assists for 66 points. And over the past few seasons, has had a complete body of work. Last year in 70 games, he got 84 points. The year before that, 110 points in 81 games. Simply put, he's one of the best offensive wingers, one of the best offensive forwards, one of the best offensive players in this entire league. And even though the defense still isn't great, the offense is well worth having a player like that on the team. But if you're the team like the Buffalo Sabres, if you're a team like Buffalo right now, there's no way you're getting Patrick Kane at this current moment. That's why I think the trade rumors also kind of fizzled, is that there wouldn't really be a lot of incentive for Patrick Kane to really put 100% there. But again, if that core is revamped, if that core gets a lot better, and that young core continues to progress, it could be a possibility. Again, Buffalo, I think, would still have to overpay for sure. But if Chicago is in a position where they're still trying to rebuild, maybe there's a possibility that Patrick Kane walks. Honestly, at this point, though, Chicago, especially Stan Bowman, just trying to go for it, obviously, this past offseason, I feel like for Chicago as well, they might have to also overpay to keep Patrick Kane. It's going to be a bidding war for sure, but at least for Buffalo, it seems like they might be a possibility, even if they might not be the actual team that Patrick Kane chooses. But let's just take a moment here to just kind of look at it through Patrick Kane's eyes here, because Patrick Kane has made his money. He got that ridiculous deal with the Chicago Blackhawks a few years back, and even though now it's looking pretty decent at least, it was a big contract. At this point with Patrick Kane, I think he's just focused on winning 110%, and even though Chicago might not be the best place for that, it's sure a heck of a lot better than Buffalo is right now, at the very least. And I feel like for Patrick Kane, again, there has to be some major improvement for the Buffalo Sabres over the next 2 years. And I really don't see that happening. And although I do think there is maybe a possibility that Patrick Kane maybe goes to Buffalo if everything pans out, there's a few other quotes in this John Bogle article that are, suspect to say the least. He goes on to say that Kane might stay in Chicago. I think that, yeah, probably. But maybe Ryan O'Reilly wants to rewrite his chapter with Buffalo. McKinnon, Pastrnak, Larkin, Horvat, Monahan will still be in their prime. Dunbar or Jake Gardner could complement the youth of Darling and Power. Big names will continue to hit the market the following summer in 2024. And then he goes on to say, after facing their closest rival dozens of times, maybe Toronto's Matthews or William Nylander see a brighter future on the other side of the border. Steven Stamkos made Buffalo a finalist during the 2016 fling with free agency, so he could be a veteran touch for 2024. Maybe Stan Reinhart wants to finish with what he was supposed to help to start. By the time free agency opens in 2024, the Sabres should know goalie prospects Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Portillo, and Devon Levy have what it takes. If they don't, Vezina Trophy winner Connor Hellebuck might be an appealing and necessary piece. Yeah, I would also like Connor Hellebuck on my team, but you're the Buffalo Sabres. I'm not sure you're gonna get that. But the Buffalo Sabres, I just don't see where that scenario is going to come from, where they get, honestly, any of these big guys. Patrick Kane might be an option, maybe, but again, everything needs to go right for the Buffalo Sabres to actually make this work. But guys like Hellebuck, guys like Matthews, it ain't going to happen, especially Matthews. No way that type of character is going to a city like Buffalo. It's just not happening, and I think for the Buffalo Sabres, they should just ride the course, trust the process, believe in their young players, and not bank on getting these big free agents that they're probably not going to be able to sign anyways. Now, by the end of the article, John Bogle ends up saying this, which I think is actually pretty interesting. The Sabres could be in a position to strike. The only money committed to the roster for 2024, 2025, and beyond is Jeff Skinner's $9 million. While the contracts of the new core will have been extended by the time these free agent classes reach the market, Adams plans to leave space for key additions. If his young core blossoms, Buffalo could be a place that UFAs want to be. And, of course, Kevin Adams goes on to say this: "We build around those guys. Everybody's on the same page, and then we move forward. That to me is how you build a team over time. So that is interesting because, again, when it comes to Kevin Adams' philosophy, which is I think the big thing that we're talking about here, it seems like, again, free agents might be a part of that, but mostly it's focused on getting the young guys to where they need to be, developing them right, and again, giving them the time to actually be what they need to be. And I think that is a big kind of difference compared to other GMs with the Buffalo Sabres, because it seems like they want to get a rebuild and they want to end up being a contending team right off the bat, and it just made the situation so much worse and continued to miss the playoffs year after year. But it seems like with Kevin Adams, again, the patience is there, and it seems like the ownership is also giving him the availability to be patient with the team and actually build the team correctly this time, which I think is definitely important. They might not get a Patrick Kane, they might not get a Leon Draisaitl, they might not get an Austin Matthews, they won't, by the way, but at least it seems like they're building the team in the right direction, in the right way, and again, giving them patience that just wasn't with the franchise over the past 10 seasons. But again, going back to what John Vogel is saying here, if this young core blossoms, Buffalo could be a place that UFAs want to be. I mean, I guess Tyler Ennis maybe, but an Austin Matthews or a Leon Draisaitl, it's just not happening, I don't think. Even again, if that young core blossoms as good as possible, let's say Dahlin and Power both become #1 defensemen, Casey Middlestat becomes god out of nowhere, Cousins is fantastic, Quinn is fantastic, Paterka is fantastic, there's still a ton of questions with how they're treating their stars, how they're treating their big guys. Obviously, I think honestly the biggest thing that's holding Buffalo back from these big free agents is how they're handling the Jack Eichel situation. That to me is the biggest part. Not just the bad play right now, but again, how the history of their stars have been treated, especially with Jack Eichel not getting the surgery that he wants, and a surgery that's been cleared to potentially happen with him. Buffalo's just not allowing it to happen. That to me is the biggest mistake, because players know what's going on. They see what is going on, and they don't want to go to a situation like that where they're the #1 guy and get treated as badly as Jack Eichel has. To me, that's the biggest indication of just the problems with the Buffalo Sabres. And maybe Kevin Adams is different, but at the same time, stars don't forget. And I think a guy like an Austin Matthews, guys like Patrick Kane, they're going to look at Jack Eichel and be, quite frankly, pretty disgusted. And if I was them, no chance I'm picking the Buffalo Sabres. No chance, unless they're offering me like $6 million more than any other team, which maybe, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like Kevin Adams is actually going to do that. I think the most realistic option right now for Buffalo is that they continue to progress the encore, be bad for these next couple of seasons, hopefully at least get some good character and chemistry guys in the locker room, and then maybe get a couple of decent free agents in the next couple of seasons after that young core starts to finally progress. So all I'm going to say at this point is that if the Buffalo Sabres big free agent addition in 2023 is Tyler Ennis, you can thank me later for letting you guys just know about it ahead of time. I'll accept payment in any way possible. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this trade rumor breakdown and trade rumor dismissal, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell to get all the latest in the NHL. And of course, make sure you comment down below, what are your thoughts on this trade rumor? Do you think the Buffalo Sabres can actually get some big free agents? What do you think about the direction of Kevin Adams and the Buffalo Sabres management right now? And what do you think about the potential free agents that are out there? Where do you see them going? And of course, make sure you click on this card right here for all my trade rumor content right on my playlist. Make sure you share this video with any hockey fans that you know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.